So, it's been a while since we've had a 1K build and a lot of new product releases and everything else. What does a new 1K build look like in 2020? Well, we're about to find out right here on Robeytech. Whew. You know what, guys? It has been a roller coaster for 2020. And no, I'm not just talking about human malware. We're talking about so much is released in the amount of time. And we have so much coming up. Since I did the step-by-step guide to 2020, which you can check out right here, and is still relevant when you want to do a step-by-step build, a lot's changed since we've done a 1K build. We've had B550 come out, we've had the XT come out, we've had the relinquish of the 1600 AF, and I want to say, what does it mean now when we talk about the best $1,000 build in mid-2020? It's time to do an update, but before we do that, we should talk about the parts that we had in our original 1K build. At the core, we had the Ryzen 3600, where we're using the Asus Prime X570P motherboard. We were using the NZXT H510 PC case. We're using the Cooler Master Hyper 212 Evo CPU cooler. We paired that with the Zotac Gaming GeForce GTX 1660. And then we had G-Skull Rip G-Skill, not G-Skull. G-Skull is a very different thing. I don't know what it is, but I don't want to find out. You know, I'm guessing that whoever's going to edit this is going to show a picture of whatever a G-Skull looks like, and that's going to be scary for you. We had G-Skill Ripjaw 5 Series 16 gigs at 3600 megahertz. We had a Western Digital Blue NVMe M.2 SSD. We had a Corsair RMX 750 watt PSU. And then of course we had our cable extensions, but those were optional. And that had come to a little over $1,000 at the time of filming. But a lot's happened, guys. A lot has happened. Can you get more bang for buck for $1,000 in mid-2020 versus what we were looking at in early 2020? And the other thing too is I've learned a little bit more as I've blossomed. Is that a good word, Brian? Blossomed. I've blossomed. Casey's laughing, so that makes me feel like flourished as a tech YouTuber. Would I make the same choices that I made in early 2020, given what we've learned about B550 and X570 and Ryzen and everything else? I'm curious to see what you think, because here is what I would consider the best build in 2020 for $1,000. Now, the other thing too is that I will caveat this as well, because one of the other things I did is that we had like the Fantastic sale and the summer sales. I tried to actually find things that were actually at retail prices. So this isn't something where I'm going out and finding like the most like bottom dollar 1K build. This is like what you would expect to spend when you're gonna spend $1,000, whether that's now in July of 2020 when this video hopefully comes out. Knowing my editors, it might be September, October. Just kidding, Brian, I love you. No, coming out in September, October, no, but when you go and look at this, this should be around $1,000 or a little bit over if everything goes well. Now, the other thing too is that I do this, you said doo-doo, Robey. The other thing that I do about this is that I always do this pre-tax. Now, the reason I do that is that there are some states that you do not pay sales tax in, and there are some places where you do not pay tax. So if I was to do it 1K, there would be some places like, the best way to say is $1,000 pre-tax, and obviously not including an operating system. I know some people are gonna throw a fit, but you can do the math yourself wherever you are based, in whatever state you're based or country you're based. And I am gonna put links in the description below for both Amazon and Newegg. I try to do the best one that I can do for Amazon UK, is sometimes the parts just aren't available. So you can check all those links in the description below, but let's get started. And if you're liking this content and you wanna see more of it, make sure you hit that like and subscribe button. Come on, guys, you know you love me. I don't know why I hit my chest. Is that more effective? I don't know. So let's talk about CPU. Remember, in the original one, we've had the Ryzen 5 3600. In this one, we're putting the Ryzen 5 3600X. This is the 6-core, 12-thread, 3.8 gigahertz CPU. Now, one of the things that has definitely been a thing is with the release of the 3600 XT and with the release of 10th gen Intel, you've seen AMD bring down the prices of their main level Ryzen CPUs. What used to be $299 or $269 at the time is now all the way down to $219. That's a normal price. Even Fantastic, we saw those sub $200 Ryzen 5 3600s. I tried to get a 3600 XT just given that the 3600 XT had better silicon, which gave you opportunity for overclocking, but to get it into the 1,000, like as close to $1,000 as I could, I just couldn't make that work. Still very happy with the Ryzen 6 3600X. It's one of those that TechTuber certified-esque CPUs that everybody really enjoys, and I'm really happy with that. Now, GPU, which is the second most important thing. Remember, we put a 1660. Now, we're putting in that awesome EVGA RTX 2060 KO, which was announced at CES in January and now is widely available. And the cost for these, given what they are, punching at the $300 price point is actually pretty crazy. And they have the KO and the KO Ultra. If you wanted to spend a little bit of money more and get a KO Ultra, remember, these are 2070 and 2080 NVIDIA GPUs that weren't hitting the mark on their die tests. So EVGA bought them all and was selling them as 2060. So these things punch above their weight class and are very, very powerful. In fact, we've seen running Control at 60 FPS with RTX on. I mean, you've got 100 plus FPS at 1080p on any one of the major games like Fortnite, etc. I'm gonna link a video right here that shows you some of those performance metrics so you can check those out for yourself. So right now we've got a 3600X and a 2060 KO. Robey, that's already a massive upgrade. I know, but that's what happens when new tech releases. So hence why I decided to update this from moving forward. So let's talk about the motherboard, because I got a lot of flack for choosing X570. So I actually downgraded a bit here and actually chose the ASRock B550 Phantom Gaming 4AC AM4 motherboard. Main reason is a couple things. One, B550, you still have access to PCIe Gen 4. Yes, it's only the first by 16 slot and the first M.2 slot, but still, if you wanted to do a PCIe Gen 4 with an M.2, or if PCIe Gen 4 came out with a future GPU, you could totally use that in this case. The other thing too is that this ASRock actually includes Wi-Fi, which is something that a lot of B550 boards don't, and even in some cases, some X570 boards. So it was a nice at 124 bucks, which is something that's nice about B550, and you're not paying the X570 premium. It doesn't have a ton of options, like the VM here doesn't look like it's super powerful for overclocking, but you could still potentially overclock. It's definitely got the phase power for it with an 8-pin and a 4-pin EPS connector. But overall, really solid board. I like ASRock. And then for 124 bucks, fits well within our price point. For case, I use the Fractal Design Meshify C Black ATX high airflow case. Given that we're gonna air cool this, given the feedback I got on the H510, it is a much better case for all-in-one liquid cooling, given that the fans can sometimes have restrictions from airflow. Still ran perfectly fine, still a great case. If you do that build, you're gonna be very happy. With the Fractal Design Meshify C, you've got that great mesh right in the front, great for airflow, one of the top airflow cases when you compare it against new cases like the TD500, the new LandCool 2, mesh that just came out from Lee & Lee. This is a great case, and coming in at $89, you really can't argue for what you're gonna get. And given we're air cooling, great option, and you're gonna have really good CPU temps. For RAM, you're gonna see that this is actually the same. We're using that G.Skill Ripjaws 5 series at 16 gigs at 3600 megahertz, and even CL16 coming in at $77. We've seen the price of this kit consistently drop. In fact, it's 3% from when the last time it was. It doesn't have RGB, but RGB is not necessary. Again, we're trying to get you the most bang for your buck at $1,000, and this is a really good kit for that. For M.2 and storage, we did a step up. This is the Crucial P1 1 terabyte NVMe storage. So this is 1 terabyte. This particular M.2 drive has been at the close to $100 range, which is crazy for 1 terabyte of NVMe. It's not the fastest NVMe, but it's still gonna be faster than regular any SSD or even SSHD or HD that you're gonna put in there. And 1 terabyte of storage is a great place to start. One of the things you could do is you could always stick this in the second slot and throw in a 1 terabyte or 2 terabyte PCIe Gen 4 option if you wanted to spend the kind of money. That's gonna bring your overall price up by quite a bit. But again, you have that option given we're using a B550 for your motherboard. Finally, for power supply, we're using an EVGA 650 watt PSU. We are not, I repeat, we are not doing the second CPU EPS power connector. I know that this board does not require it. I have had issues with boards that have this issue. You only need to use the single 8-pin, and 650 watts is more than enough to basically power this particular 1K build. Now, if you wanna know, you're like, hey, awesome, Robey, this is great. How does this perform? We have done this CPU and GPU combination on our live show, and again, we linked that earlier, but you can check it out here. We'll put a description down below if you wanna see what the performance metrics are gonna be like for this particular build. This is gonna do great for 1440p and really good at 1080p high frame rate gaming systems. When you talk about upgrades, where would I upgrade? Robey, if I wanted to do a little bit of upgrade, what would I do? First one you do, maybe a couple extra 40 bucks and do that 3600 XT and add a AIO cooler to that, which gives you a higher level of overclocking potential. The 3600 XT has a better silicon, which looks to be doing better for basically doing some overclocking. The other thing too, look at a 2070 or 2070 Super. That's a really great range, and that brings you up to 1440p, and it gives you a higher frame rate. And then adding another 16 gig kit, which is also gonna be good, which gives you things for streaming and editing and anything like that you're gonna do, or just running Chrome normally, because we know how good of a RAM hog that is. Anyway, guys, that is it. What did you think? What did you think of that build overall? Is there anything that you would change for 1K? Remember, I'm not trying to find the cheapest, absolutely like lowest end for like spending 1K. So this is not B450 or anything like that. I still wanted to maximize what you could get out of the PCIe Gen 4 that comes with the 3000 series Ryzen CPUs. So what did you think of the build? What would you have changed? What did you think of my logic overall? I'd love to know all of those things and your thoughts in the comments below. While you're down there, make sure you slap that subscribe button, hit that like button, and ring that notification bell, and ring it hard, multiple times. Just keep ringing it like a crazy person. Ring it a lot, and let us know so you'll have a notification each and every time we go live here on the channel. Also, make sure you check out our live show every Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, starting at 6:30 p.m. over on Twitch or right here on YouTube. We do live builds, we have tons of giveaways, there's a bunch of stuff to check out. We have a lot, thousands, actually we're getting close to tens of thousands of people who come and watch that show every day. Anyway guys, I should probably go play some games. I'm looking forward to some pretty good games coming up. Outside that, we'll hopefully see you here on one of the live shows in the next couple of days.